Hi everyone, this is Mr. Omix here again, and today I would like to do a very important video on the concept of sine and cosine rule. It's also a very important aspect in the IGCSE exam, and yeah, so it's a very important topic that every student must know if you're going to write the IGCSE exam or even the WAEC exam. Okay, so let's get into it immediately. Okay, so the way I like to explain this topic is that before we start to talk about sine and cosine rule, I always like to show how to recognize what a triangle is. Okay. So quickly, if you have a triangle like this, we usually use the capital letter to represent um the angles. So if I say ABC like this, please don't mind how I drew it. Anyone can be lettered. If you have ABC like this, so these are the angles. So this is angle A here, this is angle B here, and then this is angle C. Okay. Now also, we could also have the sides that belongs to each of these angles. Okay. So what that means is that if this is angle A, and this is very important in what we are going to do. If this is angle A, the side facing is side A, and that will be written in small letters. Okay. So this is side A. While if this is angle B, the side directly opposite is small letter B. And then if this angle C, the side opposite is a small letter C. Okay, so this is how we describe a triangle. These are triangular described. No matter the triangle you're dealing with. And this is a very important background because when we get into sine and cosine rule, you must know the side that belongs to a particular angle and the angle that belongs to a particular side for ease of understanding. Okay, so let's get into it quickly. So now the first thing I want to talk about is the condition, before I even talk about the formula or whatever, the conditions for sine and cosine rule. And then the condition for sine, the condition for cosine rule. Consider for sine, and then the condition for cosine rule. Okay, so what this means is what exactly will you see that helps you figure out that, oh, this is a question involving sine rule? And then what exactly will you see that makes you realize that this is the condition for cosine rule? That's what we want to look at now. Okay, so let's start from sine rule. So for the first condition of sine rule, you have a triangle and then you have two sides and an angle given. So when you see a particular triangle, take for instance, I give you this triangle, right? And I have two sides. Maybe this is 10 centimeter and this is 8 centimeter. And then this angle is 55 degrees. So you have two sides and one angle given. This automatically tells us that what we're supposed to do is sine rule. Okay. Now, what is the converse for cosine? What is the corresponding condition for cosine rule? Now, for cosine rule, the first condition is that you must have two sides and an included angle. So the question will be, what exactly do you mean by included angle? I mean, the condition for sine rule is not the same thing as the condition for cosine rule. Well, what the included angle means is that if you have a triangle like this same data, you have 8 centimeter, you have 10 centimeter here, you have 8 centimeter here. Now, if this were to be a cosine rule question, the angle will be included, which means the angle will be in between the two sides given. I will say that again because that's the important aspect of this. For you to use cosine rule, the angle has to be in between the two sides given. So you have two sides and an included angle, and that is cosine. So that's the first condition for sine rule, and that's the first condition for cosine rule. Okay. Now let's move to the next one, which is the second condition. Okay. Again, the angle must be in between the two sides given. It must be included for it to be cosine rule. Okay. Now let's go to the second one quickly. The second one quickly. Let me use blue for sine rule. Okay. Now the second condition for cosine rule is if or when you have two or three angles given. Okay, let me put it properly as a full sentence or statement. Where you have when two or three angles and a side is given. The reason why I say two or three, most textbooks or most people will say when two angles are given. But the reason why I say two or three is because if you have two angles in a triangle, it automatically means you have the third angle. Okay, because you can always do angles in a triangle to get the third angle. So that's why I usually say when two or three angles and a side is given. So what does that mean? That means if you have this thing, if you have this like this, okay, and then this is 65 degrees, for example, or this is 35 degrees, and then you now have a side given. The side look can be located anywhere. Okay, maybe the side is 8 centimeter here. So this is sine rule because you have two sides and an angle given. Again, if you have two sides, automatically means you have the third angle because you can just do angles in a triangle basically. And that's 180 minus 100, which makes this place 80. So this is sine rule. Then what is the converse or what is the corresponding law in cosine rule when you have three sides, and no angle given? That means you just have all the sides given. Then you have cosine rule. Okay, so again, let me just state an example. For example, you have this. You have 10 centimeter. These are not all the triangles. I mean, just for ease of understanding, you have 8 centimeter, you have 11 centimeter. Okay, and then no angle is given. So this automatically means you have the cosine rule. You're going to use cosine. Okay, so those are the conditions we need in doing sine or cosine. Okay, so now let's go to the formulas, then we can now apply our sine or cosine rule formula. Okay, so for the sine rule, there are usually two formulas people write, but I prefer to just write one for the sine rule because anyone, once you have this one, it works for anyone. So the sine rule formula is A over sine A is equal to B over sine B, right? Well, for the cosine rule formula, for the cosine rule, we have two formulas. The first one is when you're looking for the side, when the side is missing. So the formula for that one is A squared is B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. And then the other one, when the angle is missing, or when you're looking for the angle, you just say cos A is equal to B squared plus C squared minus A squared all over 2BC. So this is the formula we use for either option that we're trying to carry out. Okay, so that's the sine rule formula and that's the cosine rule formula. Okay, so moving on quickly. So I'll just go on to look at some examples, and then from there we'll see the application of these theorems. Okay, so I have some questions queued up already. Um, I have some questions queued up already. So let me look at the first question here. I'm looking at the first question here. Look at this. So let's look at this question. Let's look at this question. So you have usually the questions that carry a lot of mark. Are questions that have two triangles joined together, right? And then from there, you're able to find the side that you want to find. Okay, so the first question here says calculate QR. So what we usually do is we look at the triangle that actually contains QR. So if you want to look at it, I'm going to draw in red. It is the triangle RSQ or QSR. This is the triangle that contains the side QR. So this is it, basically. So if you want to draw it out, it's just something like this. This is the triangle, basically. So you have 72. You don't need to draw it out. I'm just for emphasis. You have 25. And I say, okay, this is 6 centimeters. And I said you can always find the third angle. You may need it. Okay, you can just find the third angle by doing 180 minus 25 plus 72, which gives us 180 minus 97, which will give me 83. So the third angle is 83. So we have the complete set of angles. So the question says calculate QR. So this is S, this is Q, this is R. So this is what we are looking for. This is our X here. So, and I said the sine rule formula is A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. Again, the first thing I did was to show you that each side has its own angle, okay? So that's what we're going to use to explain this, okay? So in this case, you start from what you're looking for. You're looking for X. So let's use that. Let's use this particular one for the one we're looking for. So this becomes X over sine 25 because if this is your X, the angle opposite your X is 25. Okay, so you do the sine of the angle is equal to, so you now look at what you have. You have 6 and 72. 6 is directly opposite 72. So you just say that's equal to 6 divided by sine 72. I'll take that again. This is what we are looking for. So you're saying X over sine 25 because X is directly opposite 25. So X belongs to 25. And then 6 is directly opposite 72. Okay, and then you say 6 over sine 72. Okay, so you want to find X, so you cross multiply, obviously. So X sine 72 is equal to 6 sine 25. Divide through by sine 72. So when you divide by sine 72, you can go ahead to use your calculator to get the answer. So using my calculator, that gives me 6 sine 25 divided by sine 72. Close the brackets, and that gives me 2.66666. Okay, so if you want to do the IGCS square, that's just 2.67 centimeters. Okay, so what's our QR? Our QR is equal to 2.67 centimeters. Our QR is equal to 2.67 centimeters. Okay, so the first question is gone. Okay, the next one is find PS. Find PS. So we got this place as 2.6. So let me just write here is 2.67. Here we got 83. Okay, so we want to find PS. Oh, sorry, I forgot to explain. Sorry. So why did I know we are using sine rule here? I forgot to state that. So sorry. Now we're using sine rule because you can see we have two angles and a side given. So if you go to the conditions I gave you, you can see there that if you have two angles and a side, look at it. If you have two angles and a side, then it is sine rule. I'm so sorry. That's more important than the solution. The condition is more important than the solution, okay? Then now let's go to PS. In PS, you have, so this is the triangle that has PS. I can erase all this because you've seen the solutions. I can just take this away. You can always go back, rewind, and then, um, take a screenshot or write it down, whatever it is you want to do. That helps you remember what we're saying. Okay. So the next one just says, it says find PS. Okay, so this is a triangle that contains PS. I'm not going to redraw it because I believe you have the hang of it now. So if you look at it, you ask yourself, are we going to use sine or cosine rule? Okay, we have two sides and an included angle. That means the angle is between these two sides. So that automatically means we are using cosine rule, okay? So, and this is the side that is opposite the angle. The side is opposite the angle. Let's call it y. Okay, don't forget our cosine rule formula is a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos capital A. So that means if this is your A, the angle directly opposite will be your capital A. So this gives you y squared is equal to 6 squared plus 7.4 squared minus 2 bracket 6 bracket 7.4 cos 34. Again, this is the angle in between, and it is the angle directly opposite this missing side. Very, very important. So the calculator just gives us the what we're supposed to do. So y squared, I can put all this directly into the calculator. But again, you must know how to simplify it because now there's a no calculator paper, and then you must always know how to do it without calculator. Maybe I'll look for a question on that that requires no calculator. I'll try and look for the question. Okay, so we have 6 squared plus 7.4 squared minus 2 times 6 times 7.4 cos 34. Okay. And that gives us y squared is 17.14. A common mistake is to forget to take square roots, which could be a very, very terrible mistake if you do that. So divided by this, and that gives me 4.14. So y is equal to 4.14. Okay, so y is 4.14. So that means our PS is 4.1. So you can see that what I'm doing is every single thing I've gotten, I'm writing it on the image because we may need it when we are calculating something else that is missing. Okay. So moving on. So the next question says calculate the area of quadrilateral PQRS. So let's come back to the question. We want to find the area of quadrilateral PQRS. So what that actually means is this is 83, this is 2.67, this is 4.14. So we want to find the area of this shape basically. Okay, so don't go and start thinking and saying, okay, what type of quadrilateral is this? Is it a parallelogram? Is it a trapezium? Is it a rhombus? Is it a kite? Whatever. No. What you're supposed to do every single time is to find the area of the first triangle and add it to the area of the second triangle, and that gives you the area of the complete shape. So what do I mean? So this is just basically the area of the first triangle is first area of a triangle is obviously half AB sine C. Okay, so which is 1 over 2 times 6. I'm looking at the first triangle now. Triangle 1 over 2 times 6 times 7.4 sine 34. Because you know when you're using this formula, the angle is like you're doing cosine. The angle must be between the two sides you're using as your A and your B. Okay? Then the second one is 1 over 2. Okay, so 83 is between 6 and 2.67. Okay, so that's 1 over 2 times 6 times 2.67 sine 83. Okay, so again, calculator will just do the job for us. That's 0.5 times 6 times 7.4 times sine 34. Okay, okay, and then that will be added to the next thing, which is 0.5 times 6 times 2.67 times sine 83, and that will give us, so the total area is 20.36. Again, when you're told to find the area of the quadrilateral, when you have two triangles joined together, just find the area of the first triangle and add it to the area of the second triangle. And again, how do you find that? You use half AB sine C. You use the two sides that have an angle in between them. That's very, very key. Okay. So let me see if I can do one more question in the time we have. And then I have two questions queued up, but I should just take one of it. Okay, let me take this. Let me take this question. Okay, so this question says in a triangle, M is the midpoint of PQ, and we are told to calculate PQ. So we're finding the whole of PQ. So if M is the midpoint of PQ, it means this place and this place, they are both equal. So if we can just find any of them, we can just, just obviously multiply by 2. Okay. So clearly, the first thing I can actually see here is that with angle on a straight line, this place is 105 degrees. So with angles in a triangle, this place now becomes 45 because 180 minus this 2 gives me 45. So I'm tilting towards using the triangle on the left, the triangle PRM or MRP, whatever it is we call it. Okay. So this place is, let me call this place Y. Okay. Let me take another letter. Let me just take letter A. Okay. So don't forget our sine rule. Okay. Again, why are we using sine rule? We are using sine rule because we have 3 angles and a side given. Okay. So that's one of the conditions for sine rule. Okay. So this now gives me, so our sine rule formula is A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. And as you can see, the lettering does not matter. All you have to know is that when you pick an angle, you must use the side directly opposite that angle. That's all it means. Okay, so that means this is A over sine 30 because this is what we are looking for. We always start with the one we are looking for, and this is this angle opposite it. Now, so this 8 is given. So we are going to use the angle opposite 8. That's 8 over sine 45. Right? So the rest is just basically you know, use of calculator, or in fact, we can do this question in 2 ways when we use, okay, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to do this question without calculator. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying so because of the no calculator paper where you have what we call swords. Okay. Now look at this. This is A over sine 30. We know that sine 30 is 0.5. So this is A over 0.5. We are not using a calculator for this. Now it's equal to 8 over. Now the question is, what is sine 45? Okay. From our special angle, sine 45 is either you're using 1 divided by root 2 or you are doing root 2 over 2. Any one is fine. Okay. But for this case, I'm going to use root 2 divided by 2. Okay. So this will give me A over 0.5 is equal to 8. Now I want to make this one become easier to use. Okay, know what I'll do? Let me do the question with calculator first. Then we'll now go ahead to do it without calculator for so that's for ease of understanding. So sine 30, if you use your calculator, is 0.5. So if you use sine 45 on your calculator, that gives us 0.7071. So this 0.7071 cross multiply. That's okay. Let me do it the usual way so that there'll be no decimal points or lost at all. So let me continue with my sign. So let me just cross multiply from here like this. So A sine 45 is equal to 8 sine 30. Divide both sides by sine 45. Divide both sides by sine 45. That will give me A is equal to 8 sine 30. 8 sine 30 divided by sine 45. And that gives me 5.66. So that's 5.66. Okay. That's 5.66. Again, they say find, so that's this place. But the question says find PQ. So that's just 5.66 multiplied by 2, and that gives me 11.3. Okay, so the answer is 11.3 centimeters. That's when we are using calculator. Now let's go to when we don't want to use a calculator. Okay, when we don't want to use a calculator, so that will give us A over sine 30, which is 0.5, is equal to 8 over sine 45. Sine 45 is root 2 over 2. So look at this guy on the right. I want to make it simple. So I have, let me use the red marker so you see the working I'm doing. I have 8 divided by root 2 over 2, right? So you flip to make it times, that's 8 times 2 over root 2, which will give us 16 over root 2. So the one on the right becomes 16 over root 2. So you have A over 0.5 is equal to 16 over root 2. Cross multiply. Okay, so 16 times 0.5 is 8. We are not using calculator. And then we have A root 2. So divide both sides by root 2. You have 8 over root 2, but we know that you cannot leave your answer as a root. So you multiply the top and bottom by root 2. That will give you 8 root 2 over 2, which is 4 root 2. Okay? And then that's for PM. Then you now multiply by 2. So that's 4 root 2 multiplied by 2, which gives you 8 root 2. And that is the answer when you're not using a calculator. So you can verify if I'm correct. You can just press 8 times square root of 2 with your calculator and see if it gives me 11.3, and you see that it gives us exactly 11.3. So we've done it the calculator way and we have done it the no calculator way. Okay, so just give me a sec. Let me just try and see if I can locate the question. I discovered that all the questions we've done here, there's none that involve the use of an angle. So just give me a sec. Let me just run through my library and see if I can get anyone that requires the use of a calculator and that requires us to find the angle. So that will now make perfect sense for you to have complete understanding of what I'm trying to explain. Okay. Okay, let me see this. Is there anyone? This one says find SR. This one does not say we should find an angle. I just want to see okay, this one says find an angle. Good. This is a very good one. It's easy, but at least it makes the point. So question says calculate angle ABC. So this is the angle we are looking for. Again, are we using sine rule or are we using cosine rule in this case? In this case, we are using sine rule. You can use either of them actually because we have we can use either of them, but we are going to use sine rule. Why are we using sine rule? Because we have an angle given. Okay, so we have two sides and an angle given. Okay, so we can just say, let me call this, let me just say 29.5 over sine B. Don't forget the formula is A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. Again, the lettering does not matter. What matters is if you take a side, you must take the angle facing the side. We'll now say is equal to 35.3 divided by sine 51.6. Okay, cross multiply. So that's 35.3 sine B is equal to 29.5 sine 51.6. Next, divide both sides by 35.3 divided by 35.3. Cancel, cancel. That will give me, so with the calculator, that will give me, I want to use calculator to say 29.5 times sine 51.6 divided by 35.3. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. Sine B is equal to 0.6549. And some other numbers are following. Okay, now the only trick here, the additional trick here is just that anytime you're looking for angle, you must always do inverse. If it's cos, you do cos inverse. If it's tan, you do tan inverse. If it's sine, you do sine inverse. So to get the angle, and always use your calculator value. So you say B is sine inverse of 0.6549, but please use the calculator value. It's because of explanation, that's why I'm writing this up. Please find sine inverse of your answer of the calculator value. Okay, so I'll just say sine inverse of answer, and that gives me 40.9. So that'll give me 40.9 degrees. So the angle is 40.9 degrees. So that's just a crash course basically on sine and cosine rule. Okay. Feel free to pause, go back, watch and understand what the topic is saying. Again, the conditions are very important in understanding what you're supposed to do. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. Please always go ahead to watch more videos for your GCSE or IGCSE exams. Thank you. Bye-bye.